I wanted to ask you about, character design. Um, were Kenneth Branagh and Kevin, so basically a character design, especially the facial, is supposed to match the voice and voice actor to a certain extent. Like there needs to be some sort of feature and then similarities. Were Kenneth Branagh and Kevin Kline attached from the very beginning, or were there any other iterations of the character design based on other voice actors?
At the beginning, we had a list where Kenneth Branagh and Kevin Kline were on the list, but for Tulio, we had Antonio Banderas too. And it didn't happen because Antonio was working already on Puss in Boots for Shrek. Okay,
Mm.
so but we had Antonio for Tulio, and if you check, Tulio looks closer to Antonio than Kevin Kline. Kind of. Now that you
Maybe,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But then Antonio signed for Antonio. Antonio Banderas came a couple of times to the studio, and we thought it was going to be for El Dorado, but then Jeffrey convinced him to put the voice on the cat on Puss in Boots, because Jeffrey Katzenberg thought El Zorro at the time did great, and Antonio would be wonderful with Puss in Boots, with the sword. So and then Jeffrey didn't want to mix same voices for similar movies or that they will come more or less at the same time. He wanted always new actors. So they said Antonio's not going to do it. He's already doing Shrek. Oh, we've been working with pictures of Antonio for Tulio. And then Kevin Kline and Kenneth Branagh came to the studio. Sometimes, many times at that time, like with Prince of Egypt, we will meet the actors. Character designers, art directors, and directors, of course. The actors will come to the studio, and Jeffrey Mosley or Steven Spielberg will come and knock at the doors and introduce the actors to us. And sometimes we will show what was going to happen. I remember Michelle Pfeiffer on Sephora, that I was working on Sephora for Prince of Egypt, and Michelle came like out of the blue with Katzenberg behind, and I remember Catherine Zeta-Jones on Sinbad, and I remember Ralph Fiennes on Prince of Egypt, and Val Kilmer, Danny Glover. I remember many actors coming to the studio, So at that time, they will come, and once they had signed already, or they are interested on, Jeffrey will introduce the actors as, hey guys, finally we have this guy or this lady, and will be introduced to us, which was great because that never happened in Amblimation in London, for the 5 years I worked there, Obviously, LA is where you have the biggest concentration of actors, So, but anyway, I thought it was great, And I'm going to answer to your question. Yes, we had a list where we had Antonio, Kevin Kline, Kenneth Branagh, J. Lo for Shell that finally did not accept it. I saw J. Lo at the studio. I one day coming into the elevator, it comes this sassy woman. It was J. Lo, and I knew that she was going to be talking for El Dorado, but it finally didn't go through. So many times. Probably they don't, it's a deal that doesn't go through, or it's something that they don't want to do animation. I don't know. It's but usually when we have the final actor or actress, they will come and shake hands and be interested on what's the process. They've been 3 or 4 people that they have been very interested in spending more than half an hour on seeing art direction and character design and seeing the development. Many of them, they have an artist inside, you know, so they want to know more.
Right. I'll say three things. Number one, I do think, well, Kevin Kline and Kenneth Branagh's chemistry was great, but now that you mentioned Antonio Banderas and J. Lo as a possibility, that would have been even more interesting. Now, having said that, El Dorado, you guys are working on in late 90s. It
Mhm.
came out in 2000. the first Shrek didn't come out until 2001, and
Yeah,
Shrek 2 came out in 2004, and Puss in Boots was in Shrek 2. So were they already working on Shrek 2
yeah, they
when you
were.
guys were working on?
Yeah, it was a cut from early version on Shrek 1, that I saw the model.
Oh, so
I
the
don't know
cat
if
was okay. So put okay.
um Antonio was an option too for Sinbad, but it didn't go through, too. So Antonio had a great relation with Jeffrey Katzenberg. Antonio is a very genuine guy. He's one of the actors. It's not because he's Spanish. I don't care, but he's a very genuine guy, apart from
Yeah,
a great actor. His problem is to be a Spaniard, Spanish, because he always gets into that slot of, you know, Mexico, Italy. You know what I'm saying? He's like
yeah.
Penelope Cruz.
He,
But by the accent, it's like me, I cannot play an English guy, it's
I
we
think
have such a,
for me, sorry, go on.
no, no, we have such a hard accent, harsh, very Spaniard, that we cannot play another thing, So please go ahead.
It's true, and for me, Antonio Banderas, like we know as Mask of Zorro and Puss in Boots, but for me, the way he says in Desperado, I think it was Robert Rodriguez' film,
Yeah, Desperado,
he
yeah.
says he says let's play, right?
Yeah.
Like that line is and he has this accent that's not funny, but it is funny.
If you want to watch the full conversation of this clip, be sure to click here and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.